Okay, just going live. Facebook, YouTube, thank you for attending. And I am going to be putting my cell phone number 248-252-7283. I'm going to start off giving that to everyone. So please, if for any reason you're distracted this evening, I understand the weather's bad outside. So please text me and I'll be happy to get a copy of the replay out to you. They're usually not available till after about 9:30. Once we're done this evening, it's got to go through a processing and then uploaded. So appreciate everybody attending through my Facebook Live and through YouTube as well. So it's now a little after 7 o'clock. I always like to be respectful for everybody's time and get started right away. But before I jump into it, if you could please let me know what areas you're looking in. It helps me curtail some of the down payment assistance programs are sensitive to where you're moving to. Detroit, great. Always lots of stuff available. Detroit, always partial to the city. And got a direct message here. Westland, great. Plenty of money in Westland too. Rochester, not as much in Rochester. Roseville, Westside, Detroit. There are a couple of programs that'll cover Rochester Hills. Clinton Township, great. And okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Farmington Hills, Southfield. All right. Houston, Texas. Wow. First person I've had in Houston, Texas. Without fail, I always get people from all over the state of Michigan. Never had anybody from the UP yet, but and then I always get some people from out of state. So Houston, Texas, please reach out to me. Happy to point you in the direction of different programs that are available in your area. I have to do a little bit more homework to do that. So I would ask you to please schedule a call with me and I'll do what I can to help you in that area of the country. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. If you have any messages, please don't hesitate. Put them right in the chat room. My teammate Kelly is going to be monitoring that. She'll try to answer as many as we can, and then we'll try to circle back at the end and answer all the questions you possibly have. It takes about 45 minutes to maybe an hour for me to get through everything this evening, and then you can just ask me anything after that, and like I said, I'll be here for the duration. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Collins. I am with Century 21. I've done these webinars for, gosh, probably approaching 3 years now. So I have a passion for helping people tap into all of the different down payment assistance programs and grants that are currently available to first-time home buyers or renters. I always take it as my mission to let you know exactly what money is on the table, especially the free money for grants and things like that. So a lot of people hear about the grants, but I found that there really isn't a lot of good educational content pointing you in the direction on how to get them. So tonight, we're going to solve that. We're going to point you in the direction of where these programs are. If you need introductions to tap into those, I have lots of loan officers. Actually have one at Flagstar Bank. Ben's on the line with us tonight. So he's there to answer any questions you might have. So tonight is designed for people that are tired of looking at for rentals, tired of rental increases, tired of landlords not making repairs. Or I get it, a lot of people that say, hey, I'm tired of paying off my landlord's mortgage. Or the shady side of things, a lot of shady landlords, shady rent-to-owns, and land contracts. And I find that as things get tighter out there, and right now, just when I think the rental market can't get any tougher, it does. And anytime desperation sets in, there's always people that prey on others. So please, when it comes to rent-to-owns or land contracts, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, okay? A lot of the rent-to-owns out there are less than legitimate. So I want to make sure that if you are going that route, that you are actually dealing directly with the owners, and I have access to all the public records to let you know who the owner of a particular property is. So that's who tonight is designed for. Whoops. My promise to you this evening, There is nothing to sell you here. There is no sales pitch. Okay. I'm going to go over 5 programs that are currently available, currently have funding, and we are closing deals daily on these types of programs. I'm also going to give you some insight to some of the municipal programs that sit out there that we don't put in our top 5, because a lot of the municipal programs are grants that have a limited amount of funding. And what I don't want to do is get you excited for something that may not have a lot of funds with it. So my goal is always to try to get people approved for more than one program. We're certainly going to try to grab the one that's got the most amount of money on the table. But if that one runs out of money, I want to make sure you've got a plan B. Okay. So we're also going to touch on my credit repair. This Saturday, I am doing a credit repair webinar, and that's titled How to Get Your Credit Score Up 60 Points in 60 Days. So for those of you that might fall short on some credit or have some credit obstacles, absolutely 100% sign up for my webinar on Saturday. I think you'll find that I go over what the mortgage industry looks like and some of the levers that we have to pull and buttons to push to get a quick spike in your score. It's not too challenging for myself or my teammates to get your score up by 60 points in 60 days. So I always tell people, if your score's 580 or higher, we should be talking. We can probably get you financed and get you into something in a relatively short period of time. So my goal for this evening is that by giving you all of this educational content, you're going to start to follow me. Okay. If you could do me a favor, I'm always going to ask you if you could please go to my Facebook page or go to my YouTube page and just register. Follow me there. You'll get updates for all the webinars that I post there, all of the updates with it, and always a great way to get a hold of me too. And it helps boost my content for other people that need help like yourselves. All right, the agenda this evening. Sorry, keep bouncing around here. Okay, we're going to spend a few minutes going over the real estate market. What are sales like? What is the rental market like? We're going to touch on some of the success stories that I've had recently, so you can see the types of people that I've worked with, the types of houses that they purchased, and the type of money that they actually got from working with some of these down payment assistance programs and grants. We're also going to go over some of the frequently asked questions. Okay, I like to try to answer as many of your questions up front. Then I'm going to touch on the top 5 programs that I'm currently working with and have the most success with. There's actually a lot more than 5, but I tend to focus on 5 that have a lot of funding and offer a lot of money. We're also going to show you how we structure some of those deals. Okay. Hey, how do we get you in with just a couple $1,000s? For the most part, I'd say the average person we work with that tap into these down payment assistance programs or grants can get in with like 2,000 to 3,000. If your funds are limited, less than a couple thousand, just let me know. We'll sharpen that pencil. We've got ways to get you across the finish line and a lot of levers to pull to get some money in your hands. So I know it sounds odd, but I always tell people the money is actually the easy part. I know that sounds odd, but for me, it's making sure your credit's in alignment and that your income is there. So there's really 3 things that they look for: credit, income, and assets. Those are the 3 key things that you bring to the table. I can't work for you, but I can certainly help you get your credit where it needs to be, and I'll get you where the money is. So bonuses. For those of you that hang on, we're going to tell you about the municipal programs that are available, the credit restoration webinar that I'm doing on Saturday. I'll get you some links there, and I'll give you a few houses that are currently available that qualify for these programs. Again, my ask from you is that you just follow me on Facebook and YouTube and schedule a call with me. Okay, booking a call is the first step. Whether you're looking to move in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, doesn't matter to me. I like to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and then just tell you what I would do. Okay. Like I said, sometimes it's things are a little messy and it may take us a couple of months. Not a big deal. I'm here for the long haul. So before I get too far into this, my calendar tends to book up on a webinar like tonight. We're probably going to have a good 60, 70 people on. And after that, my calendar always gets booked up. So I'm going to give you a link right now. Here is a link to my calendar, no down payment required.org/book. So click that link. You'll get a direct access to my calendar to schedule a call. I'll give you a call at that time, typically about 20 minutes. I'll actually ask you some questions. Hey, what's your income like? What's your credit like? Where do you want to move to? And then I'll put myself in your shoes and tell you what program's the best. And then from there, we're going to connect you with one of the lenders that I like to work with, for example, like Ben at Flagstar. Okay. With that being said, let's jump into the markets. Right now, the sales market's actually, in my opinion, improving a little bit. We're finding that there are more, it's not as competitive of a market as it was a couple of years ago. Okay, so I'm readily getting offers through on these down payment assistance programs. It's just a function of trying to find that house. So with that being said, the inventory levels are still limited, but there are not nearly as many buyers as there were a couple of years ago or even a few months ago. So I wish I could say it was the same in the rental market. Right now, the rental market still suffers in my mind. And unfortunately, I don't see any good news on the horizon. As much as what comes out of Washington keeps saying, hey, more rentals are coming, inflation is temporary, rates are going to be coming down. I can tell you one thing from experience, rents do not come down. They may not go up as fast, but they don't typically go down. So one thing that I like to keep in mind is right now, a 2-bedroom apartment in the Detroit metropolitan area is now at about $1,350 a month. Now, for $1,300 a month, you're buying about a $150,000 house. And that is a good quality brick home in a lot of areas. So just keep that number in mind because I will refer back to it a few times this evening. Okay. I think that's about enough for the home market and rentals. Let's just start getting into some of the details here. Here are some of the success stories that I've had recently. Here's one in East Point. Rohan and Nicole purchased this one in East Point for $168,000. This is a 3-bedroom brick ranch. And you're going to find a theme here because I love these brick homes built in the 50s. In my mind, some of the best construction this country's ever seen. So this one actually had a 1-car attached garage. Rohan and Nicole actually were able to tap into a 3% gift program through Flagstar Bank. And then we piggyback that with a Power Up program. So they were able to get $10,540. So their total to buy this house was $3,342 out of pocket. They needed $2,000 at signing and $1,342 at the time of closing. Had a nice full basement. I think it had a bathroom in the basement. So we're looking at 1.5 baths, solid brick house in East Point. Next one, here's one in Detroit. Anaheim used the state of Michigan program, which is a $10,000 down payment assistance program. So the state gives you free use of their money. So she only needed $1,000 at the time that we signed the contract and $200 at closing. So for $1,200, she was able to get into this house. So nice 3-bedroom brick ranch. This one was at the Detroit Diesel area. It would be east of Telegraph, just south of 96. Actually, I've got a house in Hazleton. We just got under contract right down the street from there. Solid neighborhood. Here's another one. Martisha purchased this one on Cruz Street. She tapped into a 3% gift, did the Power Up program. She got $8,900. $1,000 when she signed the contract and $1,279 at closing. This house was as nice on the inside as it was on the outside. So you can see newer roof, updated kitchen. Actually, it had 4 bedrooms, master suite on the main floor with a full master bathroom. Somebody put a nice addition on this one. So that was Martisha. Next one, Detroit. Tashiana purchased this one using the $25,000 down payment assistance program through the city of Detroit. So unfortunately, this program's no longer available, but these programs do surface. Okay. So she was able to purchase this with a $500 deposit, and she only needed $1,000 at closing. So for $1,500, she was able to get into this house. And the odd thing about this house, it was a lot nicer on the inside than it even looks on the outside. Granite countertops, new kitchen. She really did well on this house. And what's not to like? She got $25,000 free from the city, from the DPA program. And then this is one that we just closed a couple of weeks ago. Actually, Ben Flores closed this one. This was by far and away the biggest home run and the best transaction I've ever been associated with. Emily purchased this home in Detroit. It was like everything went Emily's way, except it took her a very long time to get through it. She ended up doing the down payment assistance program through the city, and unfortunately, there's nothing fast about that program, but it's still a lot of money. So Emily was able to tap into $33,134, just an incredible amount of money. So we made an offer on this house for $125,000. They accepted it. This house was actually in not foreclosure, but it was something that was close to foreclosure. It's a short sale is what they call it. So it took 2 to 3 months to negotiate the short sale through the bank. So it was a long, painful process, but Emily stuck in there with it. And she qualified for the $25,000 through the city of Detroit. She ended up getting a 3% gift from Bennett Flagstar, and then a grant for $5,500 that actually covered her appraisal too. So this is the equivalent of just, in my mind, hitting the lottery. So it was just a great day, great transaction. And what's even better about this is Emily, and I know she told me I could share her story. Emily was on a fixed income. She's on Social Security. So we were able to get her approved for this loan on her Social Security income. It was just, again, it was a win all the way around. So next one. Oops, I want to go over some of the people that I sold houses to 5 years ago, because as much as everyone needs a roof over their house today, and it makes sense to purchase a house because now you control it and you own it and you don't have to be subject to a landlord. In my mind, it's also about building some wealth. So these are 3 people that I sold houses to several years ago. Here's one where Jack bought this house in Livonia back in 2018 for $156,000. He just called me and said, "Hey, what could I sell it for?" Well, they're selling for $225,000. I mean, he's watched his house go up $70,000 in value. He tapped into a $7,500 down payment assistance program. We did get $2,000 in seller concessions, but look at this. His payment back in 2018 was only $1,100 a month. And guess what? It's still $1,100. So rents back then were $1,100 for a 2-bedroom apartment, and now they're up to $1,350. So the nice thing is these programs control your budget. You get your payment locked in for the duration. Next one, Terry bought this one 5 years ago in Westland. He bought it for $100,000. We ended up selling it for $155,000. He tapped into a $7,500 down payment assistance program. His payment was $950. Again, $50,000 in equity by just making a payment that you would have had to make to a landlord anyway. And then here's one that Patricia purchased. She purchased this one in East Point for $75,000. This is actually half of a duplex. She owned it for 4 years, sold it for $110,000, and her payments, I think, on that were only $750 a month. So it's not only about today, it's about building for tomorrow as well. So I have somebody asking for my YouTube channel. I'm just going to plug that right in. Okay. And there's the link to my YouTube channel. Okay. Next one, frequently asked questions. Okay. So most of the people that I work with are renters. Okay. And I get it. Rents, unfortunately, leases end at odd times. Could be warm, could be nice out, could be cold out, but they're ending all year round. So a lot of the renters that I work with are very sensitive to how long do these programs take. Well, sometimes they can take 3 weeks, sometimes they can take 45 days. Okay. The number one program that I like to work with, which is actually Flagstar Bank's Destination Home Program, it's a zero down. If you get all your documents into them right out of the gate, we actually got one closed in 3 weeks. Okay. That's an in house program that Flagstar can just go to the races. But it's a function of how quickly you get your documents into them. Okay. So they're going to ask you for things like your W-2s, your pay stubs, possibly tax returns, bank statements, things like that. So if you're a technologically savvy person and you can download all those things and get them over to your loan officer, things can go very, very quickly. So if not, then it may take 30 to 45 days. Okay. Now that's from the time that we actually find a house and get it under contract. So the steps are schedule a call with me, and no obligation there. I just want to learn your story, put myself in your shoes. Here's, again, a link to my calendar so you can book a call with me. From there, if everything lines up, I'm going to connect you with a lender, get you pre-approved, and then we're off to the races. It can happen as quickly as a few hours if needed. If it doesn't work out, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to give you the tools of what you need to do to turn it into a yes. And I'm going to give you a time frame, whether it's going to take a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Okay. We'll work through that time frame together, and then we'll schedule a call down the road to make sure you're on the right path. Okay. Eligible properties. Now, a lot of these programs are forgiving on cosmetic things, but we do need to have a functional kitchen, bathroom, mechanicals, like water heater, furnace. Sometimes houses don't have those. Okay, I get that, but they will be installed before closing. The biggest thing we want is we want to make sure that the house is in good habitable condition. Okay, try not to get bogged down on cosmetic things. So for me, I'm all about quality houses. Okay. I want to make sure you're getting into something that's structurally sound. Okay. I'm getting too old to have people call me after closing and say, hey, John, guess what? That just doesn't go with me. Okay. If I feel like you're stepping into something that's like that, we're going to say something. Okay. There's always plenty of houses out there. I always tell people, we're not here to sell you houses. We're here to help you keep from making any mistakes. Okay, so take advantage of us on that. And every now and then, it doesn't happen very often, but I have to tell someone, hey, remember when I told you if you were about to go off a cliff, this house is the cliff. Don't do it. Okay, so there's a lot of people out there flipping houses right now, and no shortage of people that are just putting lipstick on houses. We don't want that. Okay. So eligible properties, they need to be in good habitable condition. Income restrictions. A lot of these programs do have income restrictions. Okay, so that's why I want to know where your income level is with each person in the household so we can structure it. Do we put it in one person's name or both people's name? Or maybe we don't put the mortgage in both your names, but we put the house in both your names. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to do this from an estate planning standpoint, and we want to make sure your income is in an area that's going to leverage the most amount of grant money for you. Okay. Next one, are there credit and debt requirements? There most certainly are. They don't want to see more than 45% of your income go to your house payment. Now, from a credit standpoint, we have programs, a few programs that go all the way down to 600 credit scores. We actually have a program that'll go down to 580 in Wayne County right now. So I always tell people, if your credit scores are 580 or higher, we should be talking. It's usually not a problem for us to get your credit score up in a few conversations, get a quick spike for you. I have somebody asking, what about SSDI? So Social Security income, no problem. Okay. It does handcuff how much we can qualify for because it's a percentage of it, but we need to know where your SSI income is. Remember that lady I told you about, Emily? She was SSI income, and we were able to get her into a house and tap into all the grant money. Okay. So just give me a call or schedule a call with me and let me know what your situation is. And then I'll tell you, hey, this is probably how much we could qualify for. That being said, you can go out and start looking and see if those houses will work for you. Okay. And if they do, then great. Then I'll hand you off to one of the loan officers I work with, like Ben at Flagstar. Okay. First-time home buyer. Do you need to be a first-time home buyer? A lot of the programs are called first-time home buyer programs, but technically, as long as you haven't owned a home in the past 3 years, you're going to be considered a first-time home buyer. Now, if you currently own a home, there are ways to structure things. Schedule a call. I can go over that with you. Okay. It's not the first time. I would have somebody deed a house out of their name, send it over to a family member. And as long as you don't have anything in your name at the time of closing, I have 1 or 2 programs that can work for you. Okay. With some of these programs. So for that one, schedule a call with me. How do I locate a lender or realtor? Well, I am a realtor, and that's what I do these programs is so when it comes time to finding a house, you're going to reach out to me and myself or my team. We're going to take you out. We're going to find you the house that fits yours and your family's needs. As far as lenders, I'm going to give you all the names of all the lenders for the programs in just a few minutes. But please keep in mind, do not, I wouldn't call the lenders directly. Please don't do that. Without fail, a couple of times a month, people call me and say, hey, I called Flagstar and I got into their mortgage department and they're dealing with someone that I don't know. I mean, Flagstar, they're a big company. They employ, I don't know, it could be 1,000 loan officers. I know Ben and maybe a couple of others. That's it. So when it comes to working through some of the headaches that you might encounter, they're not going to know me, and I have no credibility or no pull with them at all. Okay. I worked with Ben for quite some time, and I know that I can call him up and have a very candid conversation, and we can hash things out as far as what it's going to take to get you across the finish line. Okay. Or even worse, sometimes I'll get it where a loan officer I don't know doesn't return phone calls. I just have no leverage from that side. So please allow me to make that introduction for you, just to give you a good, seamless process. All right, next one. What is the difference between a down payment assistance program and grant? Well, down payment, it's kind of a fuzzy area. Down payment assistance programs typically are second mortgages. Now, whether they're forgivable or not, it depends on each program. Okay. Grants, on the other hand, that's typically free money. Now, sometimes you need to own the house for a period of time, and then you get to keep all the money. But in my mind, we typically want to try to gravitate towards grants first. Now, grants typically have a limit to how much money is available for the grant. Down payment assistance programs are more heavily funded and no issues typically of running out of money. So we typically want to lean on grants, but the words are interchangeably depending upon what lender you talk to. Those, it gets a little fuzzy there. All right, the next question. NRA settlement, you know what? I'm not going to bother you with that this evening. We'll save that for our first phone call. And that just describes how basically most of the people that I work with allow me to negotiate with the sellers to pay my commission. Okay, that's really what the settlement is. I just have to disclose that to you, and I do that in our first phone call. Okay, so those are the frequently asked questions. Got a few people, Richard, people that are saying they already want to schedule a call. I certainly appreciate that. Let me put the link in here. Just click this link, Richard, and you'll get a link to my calendar and you can book a call. And after our webinar, you're going to get some text reminders from my automated system telling you to click a link. You can book a call there as well, too. So, so don't worry about that. So let's get into the top 5 programs that I'm currently working with and connecting people with for funding to purchase homes with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. The first one, this is for people that are looking in rural areas, okay? After all the cities it went through, doesn't sound like there's too many, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but there is a program called Rural Development. It's available in rural areas. It's through the United States Department of Agriculture. They will allow you to buy with no money down. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. Very flexible on credit. Actually, we're getting credit done down to 580 right now. There are some restrictions for income. Income limits need to be below 130,000. If you've got several people in the household, they'll allow you to go up to 170. So very generous on that side. The loan limits, I think, are now in excess of 400,000. Very low mortgage factor, or the equivalent of a mortgage factor, at 0.35. And their debt to income ratios are becoming more flexible too. So rural development is a lot easier now than it was a couple of years ago. Number 4 on my list, VA loans. Love veterans. If there's any veterans out there, thank you very much for your service. If it wasn't for the fact that you had to be a veteran to get a VA loan, this would be my number 1 program. You can buy a house with no money down. There's no mortgage insurance. I mean, technically, VA has no credit score requirements. It's just that a lot of lenders have overlays, and they will not, they're just not allowed to finance people below a certain threshold. So I know a lot of banks won't do them below 620 or 600. I like Flagstar because they actually, I think I've got one down to 580 on a VA with them. So very flexible on that side, very lenient with the loan limits, the closing fees, everything can be paid by the seller. VA is one of the only ways I'm aware of where you can truly buy a house with zero money out of pocket. So great benefit for veterans. Thank you very much, veterans. Number 3 on my list, Honest Mortgage has a new program that just came out. They're only requiring a 580 credit score. It's designed for moderate to low income areas, and you have to be a first-time home buyer or be a public servant. One of those 2 things, and you can qualify for a 2% forgivable or 3.5% grant. Okay. Good product. Haven't experienced this one yet from start to finish, but it's one of those ones that just recently hit my radar. Number 2 is through First State Bank. They have a program that they call their Open Door Mortgage Grant. They'll give $7,500 in down payment assistance that can actually be used for your down payment, and whatever's left over can be used for your closing costs. You have to purchase in a low to moderate income area. You have to be a first-time home buyer. Credit scores have to be above a 600. You have to have 12 months consecutive on-time payments with all of your credit in order to qualify for this one, excluding medical. If you've got medical bills, debts, or collections, they don't count that. Okay, and you also need 12 months continuous employment to qualify for this one. Their debt to income ratios go up to 46%. I got to work on my spelling for lower there. Home buyer education course is required, and there are some income restrictions. So you need to comply with the low to moderate income tables that are advertised or posted for each area that you're purchasing in. Okay. So nice program through First State Bank. My number one program that I like to work with is actually through Flagstar Bank. So Flagstar has a program that I've been doing for about 7 years. It's their destination home. By far and away, the easiest program to get qualified for, in my opinion. It's a no money down program. So it doesn't give you any money, but there's a lot of bells and whistles that goes along with it. Number one, it's a conventional product. Now, when it comes to making offers on houses, conventional loans are typically for people with grade A income, grade A assets, and grade A credit. Okay. So when we submit an offer to a seller with no money down, conventional, most seasoned agents are going to think you must walk on financial water to get a zero down conventional loan. They have no idea it's this special grant program through Flagstar. So has no mortgage insurance, so it's going to keep your payments quite low. Does require a minimum credit score of 600. I've actually got people approved on this with no credit scores. Now for that, we need to have some alternative trade lines, and I go over what alternative trade lines are in my credit webinar. So please make sure that you sign up for that if you have any questions. They also allow the seller to pay up to 4% of the sale price towards your closing costs. They do have debt to income ratios of 45%, and everything else applies. You do have to purchase in a low to moderate income area. Now, this is a great program for any first-time home buyers that are like wannabe investors. They can do multi-unit properties on this. I've actually done a duplex on this. I don't know if you can go more than 2 units on it. I don't know. Ben, can you do more than 2 units on that program? Let me see here. Okay. Stops at 2. What was the one that we were talking about the other day that went up to 4? Okay. You know, I should have included that because I think I do more of that than I think even Destination Home. So the Power Up program, and I think it, well, why don't you share what that is, Ben? Because I know that's changed a little bit in the past 30 days. You're good. Mhm. Okay, so that allows them to, if you're moving from one of those maybe underserved communities, you can go anywhere. You're not restricted, correct? Okay. Hey, thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. All right. So those are my top 5 programs. Let me go into how we structure some of these. So now that we went over these programs, how do you get in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket if possible? So let's use this house. This is just a fictitious house. Sale price 200,000. Taxes might be 2,100. Closing costs might be 2,000. Homeowners insurance 1,200. Unfortunately, homeowners insurance has been climbing lately, so I need to adjust this slide a little bit. But title insurance would be 1,200. So to get into this house is $6,500, not including any type of down payment. Now, if we look at the lower left-hand column, say we wanted to use the Michigan State Housing Development Authority program, okay? They might ask for a $6,000 down payment. The closing costs are $6,500. So the total to purchase this house might be $12,500. If we subtract the $10,000 from the state of Michigan, it means you only need $2,500 at closing. And we can actually sharpen the pencil even more if needed. If we look over to the lower right portion of the screen, you'll see USDA or zero down grant programs. So there's no money required down. So the total to buy the house would only be $6,500. Now we can ask the seller to help out here. And that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy pointing people in the direction of sellers that are open to possibly paying some of your closing costs. Okay. There's actually an art to it. It's not rocket science, but once we get to know each other, I'll be happy to tell you exactly how to do that. But so in this situation, if we ask the seller to pay $4,000, the total due would only be $2,500 again. And what's nice is, hey, we could ask the seller to pay more, or sometimes Ben might have other tools in his tool belt to help out too. So there are different ways to sharpen the pencil to get you across the finish line. That's why I say, don't let money hold you back. Most people, if you're going to rent just even an apartment, a $1,300 a month apartment payment, a lot of times you're going to need 1.5 months security deposit up front. That's going to be a couple thousand, plus first month's rent, another $1,300. You're at $3,300 plus the cleaning fees or whatever else. It'll be $3,500 to rent. Why would we want to do that when we can get you into a nice quality house and you can own it for the duration? So these are how we structure the deals, and there's lots of other ways to get things done. I just need to know what your story is so I can put myself in your shoes and tell you what do I do. So please schedule that call. All right, let's see if we can start tackling any of these questions, Kelly, that out there that I could possibly start tackling before I get into some of the bonuses. Okay, great. Thanks, Kelly. All right, so the bonus programs. All right, here's one, National Faith. Okay, National Faith is kind of the big player or manager of some of the programs in Southwestern Michigan. Right now, they're really only offering Wayne County. Okay, so if I go out to National Faith, you know what? I think I'm in the old 25,000 area. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. And well, I guess the link isn't working here right now. Well, this is the Detroit Down Payment Assistance Program, which is no longer there. But let's just see. National Faith Home Buyers. Okay. Okay, so National Faith has access to and manages money for different housing commissions. So right now they have money available in Wayne County. And let me go down here. Where are we? Down payment program. Okay, so in Wayne County, these are all the cities, anything from Allen Park, Belleville, all the way to Wyandotte. These cities currently have money available to purchase homes. Wayne County right now is sitting on just under $900,000. So there's $14,000 available to buy a home in any one of these communities. And you don't need perfect credit. I think they will actually do, hey, Ben, will they go down to 580 on that program? Okay, so if you've got a 580 credit score, there's $14,000 in grant money sitting there for you. This is one $900,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it isn't. The good thing is they've been sitting at like 900 to $1 million for about 3 months. So for whatever reason, people are not using this program. City of Livonia is sitting on 169,000. They actually drip theirs out in $15,000 increments. I don't know why, but they've been sitting on this money for at least 6 months now. Obviously, Taylor's out of money. Westland's out of money. Lincoln Park, I think, just got some funding because I don't think it was this high last time I saw it. So I'm not sure. I think Lincoln Park may drip this out in $7,500 increments. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to look that up. But the reason I don't include these in my top 5 or my top programs is when they run out of money, we're out of luck. So the last thing I said, like I said earlier, I want to do is get you and your family excited about something, and if the money's not there. So what we typically want to do is, hey, we'll get you pre-approved for a destination home program. And when it comes down to making the decision, hey, if the grant money is available, we'll go there first. If it's not, then you've always got your destination home backup. Okay. So I'm a big fan of having a couple of tools in your tool belt. Okay. So National Faith. Unfortunately, the city of Detroit is out of their 25,000 right now. Here is a link. I'm going to put this in the chat room. Here is a link to register for my credit webinar on Saturday. Okay. Got it. And you know what? I am going to put this in for our Facebook and YouTube friends. Here's a link to register for my webinar Saturday. So, and my apologies, Facebook, YouTube friends, I apologize. I have not been on top of your comments this evening. So if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My cell number, 248-252-7283. Certainly appreciate you attending. Now, on that credit repair webinar, we're going to go over what they look for in the mortgage world. What credit scores do they use? What models? Where do you get the credit scores from? What tools are out there to get a quick spike in your credit scores? And more importantly, what not to pay off. There's a lot of times people start paying debts off thinking it's going to bump up their credit score, and it doesn't. Tip number 1, do not pay off old collection accounts. Anything over a year old, please do not pay. Call me. Let me know what type of account it is. When you start to pay off some of those old collections, you will actually reactivate them. Okay, so think of it this way. You've got an old collection for a cable company, and say it's 2 years old. That damage has been done. Your credit score's already been hit. If you pay it off, it's going to show up next month, March 2025, as a paid collection. Your scores will go down. Okay, so one of the tips that I tell people is don't pay that. If the mortgage company asks us to pay it off, that's fine. We'll pay it off after they've pulled your credit and get your score locked in. So we want to push some other things to get your scores up. Once the lender pulls it, gets it locked in, if we have to pay it off and your score goes down, we don't care. We've already got the score locked in. Okay, so please do not blindly pay off those old collections without going through my credit repair webinar. Someone's asking, are there any grants for senior citizens? Nothing that I know of. Okay, it's just across the board. Nothing that I've ever encountered for seniors. Good question, though. All right, here are some houses that actually will qualify. I haven't updated this in a while. So a couple of these actually we have accepted offers on. So number 5 on my list, this one in Farmington Hills. This one has sold. We did accept an offer on that. Number 4, Hayes and Warren. This one is available, does qualify for a down payment assistance program. And number 3, Hazleton. That one just closed today. So nice house down in the Detroit Diesel area. There is another one that we have coming up there. So if you're looking for something in a more modest price range of about $125,000, putting your payments at maybe about $1,000 a month, that would be a nice option. solid 1950s brick home. Number 2 on my list, Knox. That one, actually, everything is starting to sell right now, but we do have a couple more and more that are coming up in the same price range. So if you are looking for solid 2-bedroom houses in Warren, we do have these where the payments will come in the $900 area, and you could probably get in with $1,500 out of pocket. This next one on Michael, this one, actually, we just did a price reduction on this one. We just marked this one down to $125,000. This is an out-of-state investor, and he just said he wants it gone. Okay, so someone could actually purchase this one. It's a 3-bedroom brick ranch, attached 2-car garage in Warren. Well, 125 would only take about $1,500 out of pocket to get this one across the finish line. So if your credit scores are 580 or higher, give me a call. This one's probably going to go very quickly now that we just reduced the price on it. All right. So where do we go from here? Well, first thing I tell people is please schedule a call with me. So let me get my link in here. But before I do that, if you could please do me a favor and visit here's my YouTube page, and follow us there, or here is my Facebook page. And these are just places where I'm just trying to get more traction to those sites, because I find the more people that follow, the more people that look at some of the educational content I have there, the more eyeballs go there and the more people I can help. And that's what I'm all about. The more people I can help, the better it is for everyone. So I certainly appreciate that. And then let's get you a link to, boy, I feel like all I'm doing is sharing links here. So here's a link to my calendar again. Whoops, wrong one. While I'm doing that, any other questions coming in, Kelly, that I need to address? Jamaica, okay. Thank you, Jamaica. I appreciate that. Okay. And, here, let me give you, more importantly, let me give you the link to my website, Michigan Home Search. Pull this up. micity.com. That's funny, not secure. Great. I think I entered that incorrectly. You know what it is? No www. There we go. Oh, my connection's going slow right now. Helps if I spell it right. There we go. Okay, so here's a link to my website. I always tell people, it's never too early to start looking for homes. And the reason I say that is I'm all about learning what the marketplace is like right now, because when we finally get together and get a good house in front of you that has value, you won't hesitate to jump. So I find that for me, it's all about getting education. And the more education we get in front of you, the more confident you are when it comes to making a decision. So we are just about at 1 hour. Any other questions out there? Reagan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Jamaica, thank you. All right. Everyone, okay. So you're going to start getting some texts once we break here this evening, going just asking for you to schedule a call, Carmina, thank you. Reagan, appreciate it. Thank you all very much for attending. I know everybody's schedule is busy, so it really does mean a lot to me when you're able to carve out this kind of time. So that's why I try to keep it to an hour. So if you have any questions, please never hesitate to reach out to me. I mean, I give out my cell phone number for a reason. I really do enjoy helping people. But I will tell you, thank you, Stacy. I'm glad you felt that way. I am a glorified phone jockey. I am on the phone all day. So if I'm not available, please shoot me a text. A lot of the calls that I have scheduled aren't always held. So if I may have a call scheduled that isn't able to make it at that time, so I start calling all the people that have texted me. Okay, so shoot me a text. Always happy to reach out to everyone. So William, appreciate it. Toya, thank you. Stacy, everyone, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. I hope our paths cross again soon. And please take me up. Oh, and if you have any, thank you, Jamaica. If you have any friends or family, very few things make me happier than if you share my information. Okay. Hey, share my replay with people, share my webinars, share my pages, any way I can help you, your friends or family. I'm all about helping like-minded people. Okay. Thanks, iPhone. I appreciate that. Same here. Here's my cell phone number again for whoever just asked for it, 248-252-7283. Okay, good. Hey, thank you all. We had a lot of people on tonight. I don't know where we hit, but I think we came close to 60 people, which with the weather being as poor as it is, I certainly appreciate that. So now, everybody that attended this evening, if you attended, you won't get the replay. If you want a copy of the replay, please text me, because once you chime in or register, then unfortunately you don't get the replay. So, but I find a lot of people come to my webinars 2-3 times before they pick up the phone. So I hope I've given you enough confidence where you won't be bashful. You'll pick up the phone and we can work out a plan there. So, hey, I see James Willis here. Didn't I talk to you earlier today? Nice. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. Actually, there is an area, Teresa, where Belleville is a rural area. Not all of it. Okay. There's Van Buren Township. So it depends on where you are. If you're north of Belleville, it's a little spotty. If you go south of Belleville, rural development does quite well down there. So it's case by case. You know what? Schedule a call with me and then I'll give you the link so you can actually, here, I'll do it right now. There is a link for rural development and I keep it on my desktop here. Okay, here is the link for eligibility for rural development. Okay, might be a little bit too, oh, sorry. I think I just sent that to the wrong person. Everyone, here we go. Okay, eligibility for the Gov USDA eligibility. So give me a call still, because it's not the easiest tool to operate, but yes, there are some options there. Okay, and I think Carmina had a question here. Got it. Okay. All right. Good. Let's see. Okay. Well, I hope our paths cross again soon. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, never hesitate to text them to me or just reach out. Okay. Ben, thanks for being here this evening. Kelly, you too. And if anybody would like the replay, just reach out to me. Okay. But thank you all for attending and have a wonderful night. You're welcome. Take care. Goodbye.